welcome back to the channel. If you're watching this, then obviously you've been following a little bit. I'm just gonna rant right now. I'm about to diss a lot of people. I don't care, but just felt like expressing myself, bro. But I keep watching these newspaper on YouTube, like Tucker Carlson and shit, and all these fake ass influencers who claim to be. See, Tucker Carlson is supposedly is a guy who once had a TV show, right, and from a reputable news source or whatever. And look, I'm gonna just say it like this, bro. What they're talking about, bro, I've known for years. You know what I mean? Maybe decades. You know what I mean? Maybe a decade or two. You know what I mean? And whatever they're trying to say that Trump is doing, exposing the deep state. You know what I mean? All they're doing that is to defend a rapist and defend a pedophile that he probably is, because that's what Trump really is, guys. And all the guys that voted for him, that's what they're defending. But all this shit that he's talking about, bro, they're like decades old conspiracies that y'all just are finding out about. You know what I mean? Apparently, you know what I mean? Because that's how fucking blue pilled you guys are. That's how fucking stuck and programmed you guys are. But stuff like like fake news, man. Like, oh, come on, bro. Fake news, bro, is what kept people thinking that they should stay inside their homes since 9/11. You know what I mean? And that they shouldn't even leave their houses. You know what I mean? Because of fear of attack, of anthrax and stuff. I mean, it's always been used. You know what I mean? Media has always been used to display one. You know, here's a fun thing. The fact is that fake media. I mean, you leave these biased news network outlets for biased influencers on the internet, who also only give you one tip, including Tucker Carlson. It's funny because look what they're doing. What they're doing on the right is they're trying to say that Trump is the man who's gonna bring down the whole cabal of, you know, like he's a conspiracy. You know what I mean? And he's gonna bring it all down. You know, he's the truth and the light. He's Jesus. You know what I mean? No, man. Like none of these people are. Man, come on, man. They're trying to deify. They're trying to, like, you know, sanctify. I don't know what they're trying to glorify Donald Trump. You know what I mean? And he's just the man who gave you. He's more like Satan. You know what I mean? Where he lies with the truth, you know, to deceive you. He told you the truth, which I already knew, that the news media outlets are biased. I already knew that. I mean, if you didn't know that, you've been living under a rock. You know what I mean? For over 10 years. You know what I mean? The Fox is on the right, MSNBC is on the left. And most news outlets are placed either on the right or the left, or they're like, you know, in the center, but they're not really center. You know what I mean? And they're based off that. You know what I mean? But like for just like, you know, big one out there, MSNBC is on the left. Fucking Fox News is on the right. You know what I mean? Either I'm saying Democrats, MSNBC, right is Fox. You know what I mean? And that's what they do. Or Republican is Fox. That's how simple it is. You know what I mean? And the fact of the matter is that people on the internet, including Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro, these fuck niggas, I mean, all of them motherfuckers are biased influencers too. And they do the same fucking goddamn shit. You know what I mean? Because they don't fucking even say that Donald Trump is a rapist. I mean, they act like he's not a criminal that should be going to jail, right? They try to act like he's Jesus Christ and he's showing the light to everybody, and when he's been riding the system. So like I said, he's been using the system too, right? If you didn't know that the system is rigged, then you're a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? And that's what most MAGA people are. They're fucking idiots. But the point is that that they're fucking idiots. They're fucking idiots. You know what I mean? They're like drunk Irish fucking that motherfucker Irish fucking dude that fights in UFC. Fuck, what's his name? I forgot his fucking name. You know, they're like the drunk Irishman's fans. You know, that they're drunk and they're like, oh, here we go again, watching our favorite fighter fight. You know what I mean? And like, that's how stupid they are. You know what I mean? And what the fuck is his name? I forgot. But they're like drunk fans. You know what I mean? That they just don't know shit. And so anyway, they're talking about this like Trump himself is like he's like the devil, right? He's like that snake in the garden that he says the truth to deceive you. You know what I mean? Like he tells you something because he knows you're stupid as fucking shit, and he's like, here I come bearing truth for you. You know what I mean? So that he could you could fucking so you could be like sworn with his loyalty or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like so you could be loyal to him as if he's not somebody who also uses who also took advantage of the system. You know what I mean? Who also used the system and who also is benefited from it being corrupt. You know what I'm saying? Like he himself openly admitted to the bureaucracy. He openly admits to the money laundering. I mean, he didn't pay his taxes, and he said he avoided paying taxes too. Right? He knew about the whole thing, but do you think that he said it because he wanted? Do you think he said it because he cared about it, or that he cared that it was corrupt? He didn't care. I mean, he used it for so many years. The only reason that he cared that he says he cared to say it now is because like I already knew this corrupt. Most people already knew unless you're a fucking idiot. I mean, and two, he realizes that, and this is personal belief because he's a racist, that he didn't like the way Obama and maybe other people were using that same system, or maybe that they were like on some early maybe they didn't like he didn't like the fact that that the system wasn't just for rich white people anymore. You know what I mean? And so that's why he started fucking going off on shit. You know what I mean? Now he like, no way. Like they're finding a way to beat us at our own game. So like, so he'd rather fucking, say, oh, it's over, guys. Let's fucking redo it. You know what I mean? And so, and so, one of the main reasons I think he ran is because white people are in threats, not under threat, but are going to become a minority. You know what I mean? And or I mean, for them, I guess it's threatened. You know what I mean? And he says, that he's trying. That's why he's trying to revoke the right to abortion. That's why he's trying to tax cut the rich. That's why he's trying to go to war. Like eventually, like these are the same type of people that go to war too. And this is the people that want to cut off our education, our funding, our rights. Get us oppressed. When I say us, I mean black and brown people and stuff. You know what I mean? And get us to go to war. So we could end up getting cornered and just be sent off to war and shit. You know what I mean? Where those people still end up getting, like, there's some veterans that end up getting deported anyway. You know what I mean? And it's all bullshit, And they want us to go to jail or go to war and shit. Like that's how I was when I was growing up. Like they didn't want me to do anything else. They didn't want me to be like an artisan or some shit. You know what I mean? And or even going to Harvard. No, they didn't even want me to do that. They want to dominate those things, and they don't want to leave a shit. So I think that's one of the reasons why Trump even started fucking campaigning. So when he told you that shit, when he tells you, oh yeah, the media, whatever, it's all fake news. That's nothing new. That's nothing that I didn't know already. And for you to give your loyalty to a man just because he said that is fucking insane. I mean, because he also used it and he also benefited from it, and he obviously it's like what Planned Parenthood did, right? And Planned Parenthood, they did the same exact thing. And most people on the right hate Planned Parenthood, right? The Planned Parenthood did the same exact shit. When they found out that the creator of it was a so-called racist and didn't want to get and it was just using it to depopulate brown and black people, from areas, and how they got awarded, they got awarded an award from the Nazis. You know what I mean? The founder did of Planned Parenthood. She was a eugenic, racist, or eugenic geneticist, or geneticist. Eugenics means that that some people look at other people like they're inferior race of human beings, and that they should be bred out of society, that they should be ousted from the gene pool, and not allowed to procreate because their genes would become a burden on society because they're not evolved enough to contribute to society. That they would be a burden, and that just racist shit, right? That equates to like large levels of things, and not just race, but they were going off of race, like color, chasteism, color, classism and shit. Black, dark, and as opposed to white, light skin. But really, it could go down to like even gender or it's a lot of things. Classism. Like right now, that's why they say that they think people that are poor are stupid. Because they equate these same things, but they're obviously not the case. Obviously, given the right opportunities, anybody could do anything incredible that we haven't even reached our limit of human potential, except that other people stop us from reaching that potential. Given the resources, we could all be the same thing. I mean, it doesn't take it. But they don't want you to. This is another part of the lie, right? So, I mean, imagine like how many people think that they're so damn smart because they got money and they're not. It's just money. It's just that people relate, certain things to that, instead of the actual value of the person, instead of the character of a person, right? So that's how y'all value Trump, because he made much money, not because he's a good person. He's a piece of fucking shit, and apparently he doesn't give a shit about who he appoints as, like, he's putting unqualified people in administration. So it's a joke too, and I bet you none of this shit is gonna fucking work out. No, they're not. They're fucking bullshit. Anyway, I was saying though that like when Planned Parenthood like came out with that information, when everybody found out that the founder of Planned Parenthood was a racist, eugenic, person, they decided to not lie about it and not deny it. What they decided to do was tell the women, "Oh yes, you know what, it is true, but we renounce those ways." But we renounce those ways, and that's what the devil does. He lies to, like, once he's exposed, they lie to you with the truth, and they just say, "Oh yeah, well we can't. The cat's out the bag, so we might as well, do some PR damage control, right? Public relations, damage control, and just say, hey, you know what? Yes, this is true." You know what I mean? Like it's like an abusive relationship. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I did cheat on you. But you know what? Now you know what? I also cheated on you with your best friend. Now you know. You know what I mean? But I still love you. You know what I mean? And you can still come back to me. You know what I mean? And that's how the devil is. And that's how Planned Parenthood was. He's like, oh yeah, look, we're gonna tell you. They put on their website like we openly renounced the ways. Yes, she was a racist, but we're not racist. You know what I mean? And we're still it's still healthcare. You know what I mean? No bullshit. It was made to depopulate, black and brown people again. But I mean, now it's healthcare, whatever. Like, okay, whatever. I'm just saying though, just because the people on the right, you know what I mean, they should understand that, right? Because I don't think abortion is a good thing. I don't think it should, but I don't think it should not be a right. It should be a right. If people want to do the wrong as a right, then they have the right to be wrong. You know what I mean? But that's just how it is, right? And but because it's human nature, we're not perfect beings. And same thing with same thing with but like I said with Trump, he throws you this bone and says, "Oh, fake media and there's a deep state and shit," when he's been benefiting off that shit. You know what I mean? And he's only saying that so that you could be on his side. It's like he wants to tear it apart because he thinks he has more to gain, this way than like they coming after him one day. You know what I mean? Type of shit, right? Or him having to witness Obama or whoever, a black woman become president. You know what I mean? While he stands there infuriated, in the sidelines where he gets ousted, when he gets benched. You know what I mean? Like, he has more to gain, you know what I mean? Fucking destroying it and emerging the leader, the victorious. Like a battle royale. You know what I mean? You're like, why have a battle royale when he has his fans? When he, you know what I'm saying? Now he has momentum. So why would he stop? He'd rather take them all down. And one thing that Jeffrey Epstein, You know, why am I bringing him into this conversation? Maybe because he was Donald Trump's best friend for 10 years and his friend for over 15 years, and knew about that son of a bitch, you know what I mean, for a long time. And they're both pieces of shit. But even Jeffrey Epstein, who was a child sex trafficker, was friends with Donald Trump. He called Donald Trump a piece of shit. You know what I mean? He described Donald Trump as a man who's Donald Trump is actually bald, and that shit that goes over his head is from the back of his hair. He pulls it forward. You know what I mean? Anyway, he says that shit's hilarious. He says he has scalp reduction. And that shit's hilarious. I mean, whatever. But also that Jeffrey Epstein says that, oh shit, I forgot to call this guy. Jeffrey Epstein says that, and I don't think Jeffrey Epstein's a good viable source or anything because, whatever, but it does describe something that I believe is true about Donald Trump, which is that he's a piece of shit. You know what I mean? And that Donald Trump used to fuck his friends' wives, around his circle, and that he used to like throw people under the bus. And then what happened to Jeffrey Epstein? He died in a New York, correctional facility in Manhattan, the same place, the stomping grounds of fucking Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani, or whatever his name is, and then where Rudy Giuliani was once mayor too. So they had ties probably to this correctional facility. At the very least, it would have surprised me if they're the ones that, you know what I mean? Because Jeffrey Epstein died in the middle, smack bang in the middle of Trump's presidency. And while he was in jail, you know what I mean, they were investigating him. Trump would have been one of the, like, maybe the first person on that list. And they had receipts of him being on the plane, on Epstein's private jet at least 6 times, flying probably to the island. You know what I mean? And because I think he bought that jet eventually. He also bought a waterfront property when Jeffrey Epstein was getting investigated. They were in a bidding war between him and Trump over a waterfront property. You know what I mean? And Trump had won out. Over this waterfront property like just months before. Prior to Jeffrey Epstein getting, nabbed by the FBI and shit, or whoever the fuck was investigating. So they had this relationship, and they always used to be like that, and they used to joke about not having enough money and shit. Jeffrey Epstein says that Trump was broke, and so they would always fucking be, talking shit about, who has more money and who can actually produce money, and shit and all that shit. I don't know, some rich white people shit, and at the same time, right? He said that he's a piece of shit who used to sleep with his friends' wives. And like this, just imagine Trump, right? Because Trump's a piece of shit. He's a playboy. He glamorized debauchery. I mean, this man had in 1991 in September, he had a, and this is where he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein. He had a ball for minor girls who were minors on his little private yacht for a night. And these girls were like 14-year-old girls, at least like 14-year-old girls that were invited to his yacht to on a day before a beauty pageant, just to grind and dance with old men all night. You know what I mean? Well, that's what they did. They grinded with 40 or 50-year-old, drunk, fat motherfucking men. You know what I mean? And they were like 14 years old, and nobody saw anything wrong with that in 1991. You know what I mean? And that they did that shit in fucking in New York. You know what I mean? And the fucking harbor. You know what I mean? On Trump's private yacht. And remember, this guy is friends with motherfucking Jeffrey Epstein during this time, and Jeffrey Epstein was a sex trafficker. This man decided it was okay to throw a. It was like he was trying to veer away and trying to make it kind of like, oh, I'm not a pedophile. This is good. This is normal. My friends are normal too. You know what I mean? Like, and all this bullshit. Like they're trying to make it like it's legit. Like give credence to their behavior and shit. Probably so that when people read back on it, they're gonna be like, he's not a pedophile. No, it was just a little party he threw. You know what I mean? No, that's what they were talking about. It's like when you smoke weed. You don't just smoke weed. You smoke cigarettes and or some shit. It's like, oh, it wasn't weed. It was cigarettes. You know what I mean? It wasn't weed, or I don't know how to explain it. He's trying to downplay it. You know what I mean? Is the best way to explain it. How to like try to downplay shit. You know what I mean? Instead of saying he's a sex trafficker and a pedophile, yeah, he's just gonna openly throw this little party and invite minor girls to dance with, to dance and grind with old men. You know what I mean? And maybe, and then anybody asks, they'll just downplay it to that event. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And shit like that. You know, it's like it's just what you do when you're guilty of shit. You do stupid shit. I guess, you just downplay shit. You just lead crumbs and everywhere, messes here and there, so people can try to be like, what the fuck is, what is the truth, try to, what I mean. Anyway, you know what I mean. I never heard Tucker Carlson say anything about this. Joe Rogan sat down with that man for 3 hours, and he didn't say anything about this shit neither, to his face. You know what I mean? None of these motherfuckers that fucking supported that support Donald Trump has ever said anything about this shit, because they're biased fucking reporters. They're influencers. They're not real biased news media outlets. They're just as guilty as news media outlets. I mean, they're faker. They're influencers. They're not no reporters and shit. You know what I mean? So they're even more fucked up, right? And they rather kiss that man's ass right in front of everybody, that off their fans. You know what I mean? And shit like that. So what else, right? So 1991, right? That happened, right? And so what Jeffrey Epstein said was that he was a piece of shit to his friends, and that Donald Trump would fuck his friends' wives. He even said that and those tapes are out there. They're gonna come out. You know what I mean? They're like, there's over like, I don't know how many hours of Jeffrey Epstein talking shit about Donald Trump. You know what I mean? There was this one that he said that the friends of Trump would get their wives fucked, you know what I mean, by Trump, because he would set them up and make them talk about instances where they had sex with their wives. Because he would pry, he'd be like, do you like having sex with your wife? No, really, tell me, do you like having sex with your wife? How often do you do it? Like, what about this weekend? I have a, whatever model from Philippines coming over. I mean, we could really do something. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's how. And then he would tell them to describe the sexual intimate encounters that they had. And when they were describing it, he would get his friends to describe it. He would record it. And on the other end, he would later, he would, or I don't know, later in real life, or he would, on the other end would be that man, his friend's wife, you know what I mean, listening to her husband talking all this shit, you know what I mean, about fucking someone. And eventually, I guess he would use that as blackmail, and he would use it as a way for him to even probably fuck, the friend's wife as well. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like a piece of shit, you know what I mean? And so, I mean, I believe that shit 100%, because I don't know, because a man that's, so when he came out and he said that Mexicans are rapists, remember when Trump came out at first and he said Mexicans are rapists and murderers, the only rapists and murderers, sir, are you know what I mean? And that motherfucker should have been in jail, you know what I mean? But like, because none of y'all motherfuckers, and so that's the problem I got with the people on the right, is that this man, there's this I don't know if it's a white person belief, or I don't know where this thing came from, but it's like this toxic masculinity sort of thing where they believe that they need a man to lead them, you know what I mean, in order for them to feel like a man. Like on some reason they feel as though they live in a fucking Roman Empire and that they need a Caesar, and in order for them to be venerated in their own households, you know what I mean, and so that they can stop their little girl from going out, and having black friends, or getting married with a brown guy or something. You know what I mean? It's fucking weird, right? But this is, I don't know if it's a white belief or it's a Roman, it's just stupid idiots beliefs. You know what I mean? Where they think that they need a king to venerate them to be a man or some shit, right? And so, like, they're a bunch of grunts, a bunch of idiots, and they give all their intelligence, all their powers to like people like Trump. And so they elect Trump to be like the leader of this little masculinity shit. And he's a fucking rapist. And he's a fucking child molester. Maybe a chomo. You know what I mean? And so, like, they do this in order so that they can control their little girls, their little blossoming little children, little flower blossoming little girls that they have. You know what I mean? And it's so crazy to me because, like, So what you're teaching your child, right? First of all, you're teaching your young boys that to be a man, you got to be a misogynist like Andrew Tate, and beat your girl like Andrew Tate, or fucking, be all about man and cigars and being a piece of shit, and be a rapist or a child molester. You know what I mean? And that makes you a man. You know what I mean? Because that's what Trump and Andrew Tate and all these other motherfuckers that you think that are real good men, that's what they fucking represent. They're just pieces of fucking shit. You know what I mean? That's number one, right? Number two, that's what you're telling your young boys, right? And then your young girls, you're telling them to listen to rapists and listen to men who have no respect for the dignity of a woman. To the point that they even stop them from fucking having abortions. You know what I mean? And all that shit. And then they try to like sugarcoat all this shit and say that this is Christianity. Like that Jesus told them to do this shit. You know what I mean? It's fucking insane. You know what I mean? It's completely fucking insane. So like, what I want to tell fucking MAGA people is explain to your fucking daughters and sons that you voted for a fucking rapist so that you could control them. You know what I mean? Because I want to see your logic. I want to see your logic about how the fuck does that sound to you? You know what I mean? Because that shit is fucking ridiculous. You know what I mean? That's fucking ridiculous. That you have to follow a rapist and a fucking pedophile in order for you to fucking be able to control your own household. That is like, if you think that that's masculinity, that's the opposite of masculinity. You know what I mean? The reality is that if you're intimidated by a fucking woman being president, and I mean, and it's not just masculinity, I think it's racism. You know what I mean? The fact that, because look, Trump, he has no respect for the dignity of his woman. Melania looks like Annabelle. She's like a lobotomized little doll. You know, she's like a little lobotomized little, like you know how Donald Trump says that Hillary's disgusting or whatever, or she's a disgusting woman and shit. There's nobody more disgusting than Melania. You know what I mean? For getting with that piece of shit. You know what I mean? She must be lobotomized or some shit. She must be taking Quaaludes. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with her. You know what I mean? But whatever. You know what I mean? There's nothing more disgusting than a fucking woman who defends who's married to a rapist and a pedo. You know what I mean? And defends his ass. So fuck that shit. That's disgusting. That's fucking horrendous. That's nasty. You know what I mean? And but and the thing I say about this, that he doesn't respect any woman's dignity, right, is because he went against Hillary Clinton, right? Hillary Clinton, who is a woman who stayed with Bill Clinton even after Bill Clinton, cheated. She was a politician in her own right, and I mean, all that shit that they were gonna get her for, they didn't get that bitch, for whatever the fuck they said. Yeah, she was a politician. She fucked up in Benghazi and all this other bullshit, like, emails and all that shit. But hey, you know what I mean? Everybody's fucked up, and for a woman to be traversing in that world, you know what I mean? Gotta do what you gotta do. I mean, the shit is corrupt. I mean, there's no lie about that. You know what I mean? But I think that she did it with the best intentions. You know what I mean? And so, white woman, no, y'all didn't want America to go to a white woman. Okay, fuck it. You know what I mean? So, how about a black one? You know what I mean? Kamala Harris, right? And the most qualified candidate that you probably see in a minute. She was fucking attorney general. She was deputy attorney general of California. Then she was elected attorney general. Then she was also a prosecutor, right? She was also VP, right? Vice president. And why what makes her unqualified to be a president? I mean, and she's like one of the most qualified persons. That's like, those are four positions that are really that say that she could be a president, right? Being attorney general, elected and deputy, and prosecutor, and being vice president, right? You know what Trump was? Before he became president, right? He was president of his real estate company of his dad. You know what I mean? So he was just, I'm gonna say, CEO of a real estate company. Right, and then he was a TV host on The Apprentice, a reality TV host, and that's it. and then he was president. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, the fuck is this? You know what I mean? So those things don't even fucking relate to presidency. They're not even nothing with politics. You know what I mean? And yet Kamala had a career of that. So, it really was a no motherfucking nonsense shit. If you guys weren't on your crack pipes, or if you weren't in your feelings, then you would have been able to fucking realize that Kamala was the obvious choice and the only choice, the only even real candidate. While this motherfucker was an unqualified felon who should have been be hauled off to jail today. You know what I mean? And motherfucker should be fucking going to jail. You know what I mean? The motherfucker, son of a bitch, is guilty. You know what I mean? That motherfucker did it. You know what I mean? And he should be going to fucking jail. That's my best impression of fucking Al Pacino. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's what's going on. And so like, but MAGA is so fucking sorry that they're so sorry and they're so bullshit that they rather vote for a rapist. You know what I mean? The chomo, and so to try to control their kids. It's some of the most dumbest shit I've ever seen. You know what I mean? It doesn't, you know, it's dumb because it's literally the most stupidest shit. And every time I wake up in this country, I can't believe it's happening. You know what I mean? I can't believe this shit. Like, you know, I can't believe the shit that I live in. It's like a fucked up dream. You know what I mean? I don't even know whether I'm dreaming or not anymore at this point. I mean, I believe I can fly. You know what I mean? At this point, like, I just don't want to hurt myself, but I believe I can fly and shit because this shit is ridiculous. You know what I mean? And it's gone to like that absurdly level of ignorance, you know, where it's just comical and it's unrealistic. It seems like a dream. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? And I can't believe this shit. And so, you know, now they're trying to fucking say that Trump is some type of hero or some shit. Now they're trying to say he's some type of fucking hero, like Tucker Carlson is trying to say he's some type of hero. Oh, how Trump threatens the deep state, and they bring these people around here. So I mean, I just left a message saying I'm sick of Tucker Carlson. You call yourself a reporter or whatever. You're just another biased influencer, and you too voted for to protect a rapist.